Good afternoon. Welcome to our Center for Public Policy and Political Studies luncheon. My name is Rob Reyes. I'm the current chair of the center. And I want to thank you for being here and being present and supporting our organization. Our organization supports student engagement through civic opportunities. At the college, we're the only center housed at a community college like ours. We're unique. I want to you'll learn more about our programming in a minute, but I'll just give you a few of the things that we do. We have an intern program that works with local public entities to place students to work in their organizations. We have a Constitution Day. We also have many other programs that you'll learn about as we continue on. But I'm going to start with welcoming some of the former elected officials and current elected officials. I'm going to reserve the honor of allowing Dr. Richard Rhodes to introduce the trustees of the community college. First, I'd like to start with welcoming former Senator Gonzalo Barrientos. Former ACC trustee, Dr. Vic Villarreal. Former ACC trustee, Alan Kaplan. Former ACC trustee, Jeffrey Richard. Former Mayor, Bruce Todd. And now our current list, we have Leander ISD trustee, Becky Gonzalez. We have our tax assessor and collector for our county, Bruce Elfant. We have city council member, Kabi Caputo from Cedar Park. And we have AISD trustee, Dr. Jamie Mathias, present with us today. I'd like to take the time to recognize the board of the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies that's present today. We have Derek Eugene, Joanne Grissom, Ed Martin, Roberto Martinez, former Mayor Bruce Todd gets to get announced again. Former county judge, Judge Jim Powers, and Mr. Gene Bender. I'd also like to recognize Bruce Elfant as being part of our CPPPS board. You know, none of this would be possible without our sponsors, so I want to thank you sponsors for your commitment to supporting our organization and our programs. Without you, this would not be possible. Flintco Construction is our title sponsor for tonight's event. I'd like to give them special recognition for what they've done. And all other sponsors, we really appreciate you. There are pledge cards on your table. If you feel inclined to make a contribution and you have not done so, please take a look at the pledge cards on your table. And with that, I will introduce, it's my honor to introduce the president and CEO of Austin Community College, a college on the cutting edge of accelerating student completion and enhancing success. Dr. Richard Rhodes joined ACC in the fall of 2011 after serving as president of the El Paso Community College. He is a leader in higher education in Texas and the nation. He is endlessly working to improve the systems and grow partnerships. Dr. Rhodes is a native of New Mexico and a Texan by choice. He received his Bachelor of Business Administration and Accounting and Master's of Arts in Education Management and Development from New Mexico State University. He earned his doctorate through the Community College Leadership Program at the University of Texas at Austin. So hook 'em, all you horns. He was honored with a Distinguished Graduate Award. He is the former chair of the Texas Association of Community Colleges and serves on the Texas Workforce Investment Council. Recently, Dr. Rhodes was selected to the board of directors for the League of Innovation in Community College an internationally recognized best practice organization fostering excellence in community college education. Dr. Rhodes is active in the community, serving as the chair of the board of American Youth Works. He also serves on the boards of local chambers of commerce, the Boy Scouts of America, Capital Area Council, Austin Partners in Education, and the E3 Alliance. In addition, Dr. Rhodes is a devoted husband to his wife, Kate, who's joined him, father of 4, and grandfather. Please give a warm round of welcome to ACC President, Dr. Richard Rhodes.
You know, that was much too long. We did get to Texas just as quickly as we could, by choice. It is so good to be here this afternoon. Once again, just a full house for this gathering, and I know it is to hear Roy Spence, and I'm excited to hear Roy and to talk about the future, actually, and what's going on. I want to introduce our trustees here at Austin Community College. We have Dr. Nan McCraven, Mr. Mark Williams, and Nicole Eversman. Where is Nicole? So Nicole is our most recent elected trustee. And next Thursday night, she will receive her associate degree from Austin Community College. So I want to thank all of you for being here today and supporting CPPPS. Sometimes I get one too many P's in there, but this is an important organization. You know, I was talking with a couple of people earlier and talking about civic responsibility and civic literacy, and understanding what the responsibility of students are, of all of us actually, but how do we help prepare students for the future and what their responsibility and their role in the United States of America is. And what better way to do that than through this center and the work that we do that Rob talked about, some of those different programs, and you're going to hear more about those programs. But that is how you get students engaged, is to reach out and make sure that it goes beyond the classroom, that it goes into the infrastructure of the community that we serve and that we love, and that we have these types of events, and that the students can actually affiliate, associate, and become and have mentors from the community that can help them understand what the needs are and what has to happen, the engagement that has to happen for our citizenship to remain as it should be. So please join me in thanking Rob, thanking the board of CPPPS, and Molly Beth Malcolm, who is responsible for that area. Peck Young, where is Peck? Peck is hiding in the back. Give them all a round of applause. Now it is my pleasure to introduce one of those students who actually I've had the opportunity, because she's one of our officers for the Student Government Association at Austin Community College. And she is a unique individual with a very, very bright future. And it is my pleasure to welcome her. And that is Mikasa McKnight. So our first presentation concerning SGA involvement with our center will be made by the Secretary of the ACC Student Government Association, Mikasa McKnight. Our SGA president cannot be with us today. He's actually in class right now, and he is going to graduate. I just have to tell you this funny story. We had a meeting with the student government officers last week. And so, you know, it was our last meeting to meet with these student government officers. And so I was asking them different questions, you know, where are you going to be next year? What are you going to do? You know, what's your career path and plan? And so the last one was the president of student government, Sarush. And so I asked him, you know, what's your plans? And he said, I'm going to take some classes. And I said, so are you graduating? He said, no, I can't graduate in May. And I said, well, how many hours do you have? And he said, I've got 90 hours. I said, you know, it takes 60 to graduate, right? And he said, I've tried different things. I probably don't have enough hours to graduate. And I said, you probably don't have enough hours to graduate. He is graduating. And so he did have enough hours. So anyway, got off program here. So Mikasa also graduates last fall with a general studies degree in liberal arts, but she remained enrolled at ACC because she loves us, for one thing. But her transfer will be to Colorado Christian University or Texas State University this next fall. So please join me in welcoming Mikasa McKnight.
Hi, I'm Mikasa, but I also brought with me our Director of Communications, Paige Dowson, and our historian, Daria Kizieva, to help me present this presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today we want to talk about how Student Government Association, CPPPS, and the ACC Division of Social and Behavioral Sciences work together to increase political awareness among our students at ACC. So the first event I want to talk about is ACC Constitution Day debate that we hosted on September 27, 2016 at Palmer Event Center. We had hundreds of people attending this event, including our special guest, Travis County Tax Assessor Bruce Elfond. Every student was given a special United States Constitution pocket guide that would help them to conduct the information they needed to complete an assignment they had. Each table was assigned an issue, current issue in the United States, and they had to solve this issue and present this result at the microphone in front of all the people there. Everyone received a certificate after the event was over, and also meanwhile, people were registering another persons to vote, because that's when the American voting was going on. Everyone truly enjoyed participating. We had an amazing turnout, and I truly hope that we will work together next year again with CPPS. Thank you so much. Enjoy your dinner.
Yes, Mikasa brings an entourage with her when she speaks. But ACC SGA, we had the opportunity to work with CCPS or CPPPS for Texas Independence Day. It was amazing. We had a few of us got to introduce some of our speakers, including Senator Gonzalo Barrientos. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. We got to learn about the different groups in Texas that brought diversity and independence. Also, Board of Trustee member, Gigi Bryant, she also got to speak with us. And a former SGA member herself, Colby Monning, was able to speak with us as well. Students were hands-on collaborating with one another, creating a constitution, and it was a great way to work with each other, and SGA was able to guide and document these conversations. And of course, as you saw earlier, there's plenty of cake, fun, and thank you guys so much again for speaking and for letting SGA be a part of CPPS.
Another event that we also held with Student Government Association and CPPS was the Ethics in Government event. This was with Mayor Shirley Franklin, and it occurred on April 11, 2017. We also had our very own Nicole Eversman there as well, along with Dr. Richard Rhodes and many others. But basically, it was an event where we spoke about just government and the ethics behind it and what goes into government. It was a great opportunity for students to not only connect and learn more about government, but also with their classmates, get to know each other. And then we had Mayor Shirley Franklin there speaking. And in addition, later on that night, even the Austin Mayor, Steve Adler, made an appearance and also spoke. So that was an awesome event that we had at the Eastview campus. But we just want to, as SGA, want to thank everyone who made our year so successful with CPPS and just Peck Young, Keisha Gray, Dr. David Lauterbach, photographer Scott Newton, volunteers that made this event, all of our events, such successful events this semester, and we hope to continue to work with all of you guys, and thank you for everything.
So as always, when we recognize people, we sometimes overlook a few. And there's one former community college trustee from Texarkana that I didn't recognize, and that would be Dr. Molly Beth Malcolm. Yeah. And also a retired county commissioner from Williamson County, Lisa Berkman. There she is. And if anyone else is in the audience that I missed, I apologize. So it's my pleasure to introduce a friend and someone who is deeply involved in the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies. She's on our board, Dr. Molly Beth Malcolm. Dr. Malcolm has a doctorate of education from the University of Texas at Austin. Another hook'em. She has extensive political experience at the local, state, and national levels in elected and appointed positions. She is a former elected community college trustee at Texarkana College and was instrumental in founding the Community College Association of Texas Trustees. She has also found time for a long list of civic involvement activities from which she is the recipient of numerous awards and recognition. Today, she serves as ACC's Vice President of Community Engagement and Public Affairs and oversees the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies. It's my honor and my pleasure to introduce Dr. Molly Beth Malcolm.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here and to see all of you, and thank you so much for all the support that you give to the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies. I get the great honor of introducing our speaker today. And when I mention the name of Roy Spence, if you've been in Austin for any length of time, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh yeah, Roy Spence, that advertising guru. And that's true. Roy Spence is one of the visionary advertising executives who built GSD&M into a national player in marketing, advertising, and innovative ideas. But the success of GSD&M is just one of many Roy Spence accomplishments and personal passions. Roy has a personal mission to foster greatness in all of those around him, and that makes him the best and most inspired and fun choice for you to get to hear from today. More than just launching GSD&M and that great firm, he gave voice to many beloved brands and still does to many that you'll recognize. Southwest Airlines, John Deere, BMW, and when he flies, by the way, on Southwest Airlines, he gets up and hands out peanuts. So if you're over on a flight with him, you'll get peanuts from him. And one of those great slogans that we all love, don't mess with Texas, guess where that came from as well. But he's also helped to create the Purpose Institute, which is committed to helping individuals and organizations discover their true purpose. So in spite of all these wonderful things he's done for advertising around this country, he's also had a great passion for people. And you know, it's hard to believe that the idea of purpose-driven management, the understanding that organizations should be guided by a higher mission, was once unheard of. But it's not unheard of today, and in part because of the work of Roy and the Purpose Institute. Roy is dedicated to helping the entrepreneur in all of us. He's interested in helping people, from young students to CEOs, explore their strengths and their passions so that they can find greater success both professionally and personally. He's the co-author of the Wall Street Journal best-selling book, It's Not What You Sell, It's What You Stand For, Why Every Extraordinary Business is Driven by Purpose. Clearly, Roy has a keen interest in helping people build upon their inner greatness, no matter what your last name is or what your zip code is. Beyond all of those talents, Roy also has his very own hot sauce, which I'm going to highly recommend to you. It's Roy Ito's hot sauce, and it's really, really good. And of course, you know, because he's in advertising, there has to be a great story to go along with it as well. And I'm going to share that real briefly, but if you go on his webpage, you'll see it, or read about it on the bottle. And it's my dad, Roy Milam Spence Sr., was born in Eagle Pass, Texas, and knew the language, customs, and culture of the Texas-Mexico border back in the 20s and 30s like no other. His name was Roy, mine too. Growing up, I was called Royito, Little Roy in Spanish, and to this day, the old-timers in Brownwood still call me Royito. My dad, Big R, taught me 3 things. Be extra kind to everyone because everyone is fighting some kind of battle. Keep your cooking all natural, simple, and spicy. And don't do mild in dipping, cooking, or life. So I made original Royitos to honor and celebrate my dad in his amazing teachings in life. And remember, don't do mild. From knowing Roy Spence for 20 years or so, I can assure you Roy Spence does not do anything mild, and he does keep it spicy. And he took all those words to heart, and he does a great job in everything he does. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our great, spicy, don't do mild speaker for the day, Roy Spence.
Well, Molly, thank you for that great introduction, although well-deserved. Just saying, you know what I'm talking about. Gonzalo, love you, sir. Noelle, my niece, and I've got Tracy and Jerry, and I've got my business partner of 45 years. I look fabulous, don't I, to be that old? Anyway, thank you, and Dr. Rhodes, everybody, it's great to be here. I got to give a shout-out to Peck Young, because I'm scared of him. Peck and I have been in the arena for 40-some-odd years trying to do what we thought was a large work in the political arena, and I've never had a better friend. I've never had anybody who would always got my back than Peck, so love you, sir. We're going to have just a quick conversation about the power of purpose, which I didn't know anything about, but I learned. But I got to tell you something. This place, Austin Community College, and your little mantra, start here, get there. After today, I'm going to speak all over the world, and I'm going to tell people I wrote it. Shit, that's what we do in advertising. We steal ideas. Think about here. Start here, get there. Get there in computer science and technology. Get there in the arts and culinary and hospitality. Get there in the public policy and social policy arena. Get there. Get there in the manufacturing, in the construction, and the technological innovations of that. Get there in education. Get there in business. Get there in health science. Get there in liberal arts. Get there in science and math and engineering. This message has to get out there. You can start here and get there. We need to get this message to every ninth grader. By the way, God made us all different, and we judge our kids on standardized tests. Don't get me on this one. And I'm live. You can't stop me. And I have no notes. We need to find out what kids' strengths are. Because everybody has a strength. We just don't look for strengths. We look for weaknesses. Everybody's got a strength. I got on the road to purpose, and my niece Noelle knows this. I grew up in a little town called Brownwood. Anybody know where that is? Really? You're going to, I love you. And I was all-state quarterback. Anyway, so, and we beat Bridge City with Steve Worcester 14-0 at Kyle Field in the rain. And I was voted most likely to. Anyway, so, by the way, my dad and your papa, when he was 87 years old, graduated from Brownwood High School. He had to drop out in the 7th grade in the Depression. And he voted himself most likely to succeed at 87 years old. But I got on the road to purpose and didn't even know it. My sister, Susan Spence, rest her soul, your aunt, was 4 years older than me, and my other sister, 2 years older than Mary Gordon, and she was born, I don't tell this story very often, but I'm going to tell you, with spinal bifida. And if you don't know what that birth defect is, it's the most wicked back then. All the nerves they're supposed to go into your legs end up on your back in an open wound. And Susan was supposed to live to be 4 months to maybe a year, maybe, back then. She lived to be 49 years old because of my mom. And we would take her to the bathroom, we'd rub her legs so they didn't have bed sores, and Mary Gordon would push her, and I would push her to school, push her back, push her to school. She graduated from high school. And I pushed her to school about 8 years in a row. I couldn't even see over the wheelchair. You remember? I know, but you were there. And then she decided, and I have a real big heart for this, because she decided, and she went, and I pushed her there to Gonzales Junior College. This is a woman who's supposed to live 4 months. She graduated from there. And then she moved to San Antonio and pushed her there. She came here, and this is just the way it was. Every Sunday, I would push her, and we'd listen to the Dallas Cowboys and eat Whataburgers every Sunday. And I was there when she passed away in her bed. And that epiphany I had was, all these years, I thought I'd been pushing her, she'd been pushing me. And she used to always tell me, Rito, you don't have to have legs to fly. And the kids, you don't, by the way. You can be anything you want. I got on the road to purpose, our agency, when we did Don't Mess with Texas. This was an anti-litter campaign. And Bob Lanier, Gonzales, was there with Mark White, and the highway department was sitting there, and they had a presentation to Bob Lanier. He was the chairman of the highway department. And they said, litter's going up 17%, so we need, thank you, that's my good side. They said, we need to get 17% more taxes to clean it up. And Bob Lanier, if you ever remember him, and you do, had those glasses, and he said, has anybody ever thought about, like, reducing litter? So there was a big shoot-off, and all these people came from the people who did Give a Hoot, Don't Pollute, and the award-winning Crying Indians. And we came up, we had no idea until 2 days before the pitch, and my partner, Tim McClure, came and he says, we're going to pitch Don't Mess with Texas. Because he said, the Crying Indians, the Sierra Club, loves that shit, but they don't litter. Billy Bob Bowtree from Tyler, Texas, Al Kaplan litters. We went with us, and quick story, I presented, the first spot we ever did was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Remember? Took us 40 days to do a 30-second spot. But anyway, that's another story. Rest his soul. And we played it was just Stevie Ray Vaughan sitting on the stool with his hat, and played that dun, 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 dun. And then he just looks in the camera and he says, don't you mess with Texas. So there was like 1,000 highway department people I presented it to, average age 100. All of them had burr haircuts. And there was silence. And finally, Usher Rhodes, an old man in the back, my age now, but an old man in the back raised his hand. He said, son, I don't get it. And I said, good, it's going to work. And that's when we realized litter went down 76% without any fines, regulations, anything. You know what? We laddered up out of the litter business to the pride business. That was my first recognition of the power of purpose. We did with Southwest Airlines the same thing. We realized when he did the napkin at the Menger Hotel and said, Herb Kelleher, I want to start a company. And he looked at us after a while, he hired us and said, you're not in the airline business, you're in the freedom business. You're here to democratize the skies. That's the power of purpose. Start here, get there. So we also did some work for ACE, not the hardware store, although we do. It's the American Council on Education, the trade association. And they hired us to figure out why the public wouldn't support higher education, basically. And the insight we got was they don't want to pay taxes to get your kid, to pay for your kid to go to college. I had to pay for mine. They don't understand the benefit to society. So we turned the corner and we did this one spot. I'm going to play it for you. And it's one of the best spots we've ever done. I wrote it. So, Mark, if you could play this spot.
Hello, 911.
Someone's trying to break into my house.
Sorry, ma'am. Our local community college had its budget cut, so we're a little short on police at the moment.
What?
Yeah, do you happen to have a rolling pin or a golf club?
No.
Do you know any kicks or pressure holds? How about jujitsu?
Jujitsu?
Less support for higher education means fewer trained police. 83% of first responders are trained in community colleges.
Are you limber? Can you run?
America's colleges and universities. We teach the people who solve the problems and change the world.
We teach the people who solve the problems and change the world. This spot went everywhere, and that actress, by the way, became famous. Are you limber? Can you run? When we let people know that 83% of first responders, including nurses and fire, that this is what we do in the community colleges, we have a marketing issue in America. And that happens to be a business, so it's good. But I got on the road to purpose, went to the University of Texas. Well, whatever. So, met my partners, Judy, Steve, and Tim of 45 years, whatever. We did multimedia shows at UT. That was the age of Marshall McLuhan. And we did these crazy-ass, excuse my language, and thousands of kids would line up to come see our shows and pay us 50 cents or a brownie. This is America. We can talk about this now. So we graduated, I think, and we looked at each other, and I said, what the hell are we going to do? And one of our partners, Steve Gersh, just looked at it and said, why don't we go into advertising? I said, great. What is that? Seriously. So I had a brand new tie-dye T-shirt. My ponytail was looking like awesome. And I went down to Old City National Bank, Gonzales, and I sat down at the loan officer's chair. He wasn't there. And so somebody hits me on the shoulder and said, I'm sorry, son, do you have an appointment? And I went, no, but you're not, like, busy. I didn't know. Have you ever met a banker? Anyway, so he said, well, what do you need? And I said, we need $5,000 to start the company. And he said, great, what's your business plan? I said, beg pardon? What's your business plan? I said, well, we want to, like, stay together. This is absolute truth. We want to, like, stay in Austin. We want to make a big difference and get rich. And he loaned me the money. And we paid it back a couple of weeks ago. So it takes time to work through these things. And then we realized, and Gonzalo knows this man, we were at Headliners Club, and there was a reception 25 years ago or something, and a guy walks up and says, do you know that gentleman over there with the cane talking to everybody? And I said, yeah, his name is Robert Sneed. And he was a mentor of ours. He's a mentor. He's a country lawyer here, probably one of the finest people I've ever met. And he said, you remember the $5,000 that you borrowed 30 years ago? And I said, like it was yesterday. And he said, do you know that he co-signed that note and never told you? Because he wanted y'all to believe you got it on your own. That's kind of another thing in purpose. Someone helps you, you help somebody else. Now, don't be lining up at the door for me. But anyway. And then I was 28 years old. We just ran Peck, a guy named Bob Kruger, for Congress. And we beat a guy named Nelson Wolff. Yeah, we kicked your ass. So anyway, she worked on it. But, and this is Bob Kruger, my God. You know, Duke, Oxford, Shakespearean scholar running in the largest sheep and goat raiding district in America. I had to teach him the difference. But anyway, and we beat, so I get a call from a guy named Herb Curler, who was part of this group in San Antonio. I didn't know who he was. He said, "You kicked my ass, can you come see me?" I was 28 years old. Herb had 28 airplanes. And we went to his office, and I sat there, I was by myself, and about 2 hours later he said, "Do you drink?" And I went, "Yeah, a lot." So he pulled out a mayonnaise jar of mezcal with a worm in the bottom. One of his pilots had smuggled in. This gives you a lot of confidence. We drank it, and he hired us. And for 35 years, we've been doing Southwest Airlines. Herb taught me 3 things: how to drink and smoke on the job. He was like the best I'd ever met. In fact, I introduced him, Doctor, to, he was inducted into the Advertising Hall of Fame in New York, and there were 10,000 people there. And I told the audience when I introduced Herb, I said, I didn't know Herb drank until one day he came into a meeting sober. So, but you know what he taught me? Around my neck is the symbol of every religion in the world. Every religion in the world. Cover my bases. I have it because there's only one thing that I know that all religions have in common. It's a version of the Golden Rule. We ought to have Golden Rule summits around the world. And not the one of he or she who has the gold rules, the real one. And then I get a call the next, I'm 29, a collect call. Now, kids don't know what that is anymore. I get a collect call from a guy named Sam Walton. It's sheep's collect call. I thought it was my dad. Because he'd always call, remember? Pop would always call collect. "Hey, oh, Roy, this is Sam. Will you accept the charges?" I went, "Yes, I will." And he said, "I love what you're doing at Southwest. Can you come to Bentonville?" So I was shaking. I went to Bentonville with one of those big briefcases we used to have with nothing in it. And there was Sam sitting about where you are, and I'm sitting in folding chairs. And Sam looks at me and he says, "Oh, Roy, I'm so glad you're here, but where's the rest of your staff?" And I have the briefcase in front of my knees. I'm frozen. So finally, I just took a deep breath and I said, "Well, you know, Mr. Sam, there's an old saying in Texas, 1 riot, 1 ranger. What kind of problem you got?" It's in his book. 1 riot, 1 ranger. What kind of problem you got? He fell out of his chair and put his arm around me and said, "You're hired." And we got Norm Brinker when he had 4 chili stores, and Charles Schwab when he introduced. We got lucky on this road to purpose. And I told my wife of 40 years this August that if we ever had kids, I'd never miss one of my kids' birthdays. Of course you wouldn't do that. But we only have 1 client here in Austin. It's sad that the people who know us the best don't hire us. But anyway, we're working through that. DreamWorks, BMW, PGA Tour, John Deere, you name it. They don't call me up and say, "Hey, Roy, can you come to Munich on Tuesday, and is that one of your kids' birthdays?" But I didn't miss Courtney or Ashley's. My son was 15, and I got called off on an emergency, and I was going to miss my son's birthday. And I asked these 2 gentlemen, I said, that I was working for, "Will you do something for me?" So, Mark, I'm going to play this other video, this one, and I'll...
Shay, first time I met your dad, he wasn't much older than you are now. I want to wish you a happy 15th birthday and say I hope you look as good at 56 as he does, and I hope you're a whole lot smarter.
Shay, there's the old guy here. My kid did all right, President of the United States, and the dad like this, you got obstacles. We all know that, but I think you're going to make it. We've heard wonderful things about you. Happy birthday.
These 2 people hadn't talked in about 4 years, and a tsunami hit 2,000 miles away. White House calls me and said, "Can you get Papa Bush and Bill Clinton?" Bill had just had quadruple bypass surgery. I got these two people together, I'm the only person on the set, and they raised $1.2 billion in 5 days. That's what purpose looks like. we're not going to get anything solved in America or Texas on common ground anymore. We have to ladder up to higher ground. We have to ladder up to higher ground. And you'll be the first to know, and if it gets in the paper, I'll blame you. But I'm starting a new project called the Promised Land Project, and I want some of these students to help me, if you don't mind. The Promised Land Project, it's a good name, isn't it? Is fundamentally that we have to empower, challenge, inspire, mentor the next generation to move our nation from a divided, stagnant culture to a united, high-performing culture. High-performing. Nothing works in this country. We got to make America work again. The Promised Land Project is going to take urban liberals and make them work on farms and factory workers and go to small towns. We're going to get the farmers to have to ride the subway for a month in New York City, and we're going to film it. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the promise of this great country. And this promise of the great country was if you worked hard, played by the rules, if you can dream it, you can build it. In this country, it said you can make a living and a life doing what you love to do. It said in this country, when we're at our best, no one's too good and everybody's good enough. 9 years from now, I'll be 76. I'll still look fabulous. It's true. And I'll be 76 years old when we celebrate our 250th birthday party in America. We're going to have a new Independence Day. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing this. The new Independence Day is we are no longer going to be driven by politics in America. We're going to be driven by purpose. And I want Peck and I want you guys to help. It's in the formative stages. But just remember, we're going to be on a mission called the Promised Land Project. We got to rebuild the Promised Land. Will y'all help me? Thank you. One thing that you're doing is so important. I'm working with my daughter, cousin Courtney, who has a marketing firm in Louisiana. Well, it's in San Fran, but we're doing this thing in Louisiana called the Louisiana Calling Project. There are 55,000 jobs open in Louisiana, paying $70,000 a year. No one's applying for them because they're welders. Part of the Promised Land Project is that we're going to debunk the myth, and it's going to be aggressive and truthful, that the only way to be successful is a 4-year college. We are going to not say it's the wrong thing, but we got to get our counselors and we got to get America to understand that they are not in the business of picking winners and losers. That's God's job. If you want to be a welder, if you want to be everything you do at ACC, what starts here, you can go there. It starts here and you can go there. We have to debunk the idea. So my daughter did all these focus groups, and Al and everybody, they do them differently now, but we did so many work with underemployed, unemployed, young kids, 25, 30, whatever. And you know what we found out? Out of all the things, every one of these people want one thing in life. They want to be somebody. How hard is this? And they also told us time and time, I want to be able to have a great job, not to get a great car, not to get a great house. I want to have a great job so I can give something, a legacy to somebody who helped me. So I'm going to play this video. It's up. It's already got 150,000 hits with no advertising. It's about a 3-minute video. It's one of the things that my daughter's doing, Louisiana Calling. If we could play this final video.
My name is Clifton Smith, and this was my neighborhood. Growing up here was really rough. Poverty, it kind of started taking a toll. So we turned to the streets. And not even a couple feet from here, I used to sell drugs. It's sad, but you would see murder and death left and right around here. We became immune to it. I was out here on the streets, deep into crime. I ended up in Angola. And I knew at that point I had to do something. I've heard about guys who got out of prison and they come right back. I knew one of the biggest reasons was they would go home and they would have to turn back to the streets. I had to find my path that I needed to walk. First, it started off as a spiritual journey. But as time goes on, throughout prison, you start thinking, well, what am I going to do when I get out? When I was in prison, I heard about this BRCC program. I was actually afforded the opportunity to go to welding. I learned how to read the prints. I learned how to weld every area there was. I fell in love with the welding. I ended up getting my certificate in a short amount of time, and I was released from prison. So now it was time to put this in action. And this was one of the easiest times in my life that I found a job because there were so many opportunities out there for a welder. Education played a major role in my life. It actually helped me to get the trade and move on to a better paying career, and a promising future. Now I have the perfect job. This is the path that I was looking forward to walking. Finding a job that I can really say, man, this is something that I love. And I can move forward into, making a career out of this. For someone to have faith in you is very important. And that was big for me, for somebody to say, okay, you meet the qualifications and we see your background, but we're gonna give you a shot. My wife, she's special to me because she was another one that actually put faith in me. She seen my potential, she once told me. But she's gonna accept me for who I am, not who I was. She's the sweetest. At times that I'm down, she comforts me. At times that she's down, I'm there for her. Even before we was married, we talked about a lot and what we wanted for the future. We've been blessed. I'm happy I have a job that, I can afford the time to spend with her. The bills are paid, and we're actually moving forward to another chapter in our life. I look back at my life and I think, wow, it's been a long road, but, I'm in a place of peace now. Sometimes you have to walk through that darkness, but when it's all over, all things are possible. I love you. And I want to give you something.
What is this?
This is for you.
Why y'all always in on stuff? What is this? Let me see. Oh my goodness. What? What are you doing? Oh. You're gonna make me cry. Stop.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
So we're going to kind of wrap up here because I'm afraid of Malcolm impact. But real quick story, might as well just get to the purpose of life. Y'all want to hear it? It's pretty opinion rich. I don't dig Plato at all, but Aristotle, he's a buddy of mine. I like him a lot, actually. And if you read everything that Aristotle says, he basically said the purpose of life, stay with me, is to do good and be happy. Not be a do-gooder. Do good for your family, your colleagues. Do good for your country, your community. Do good in your work and be happy. You don't have to watch any more TED Talks. Okay, I've liberated you from that. If you do good and you're not happy, I know this for a fact because I've been in that situation in my own life. If you're doing good and you're not happy, you're not doing good. You think you are. I've been there. If you're doing bad and you're happy, you're doing drugs. So do good and be happy. Do good and be happy. And then Aristotle went on to say, your talents, your talents, where your talents and the needs of the world intersect, therein lies your vocation. hear me, young people? Don't you let anyone tell you what you're supposed to do. You find your talents, and where they meet the needs of the world, therein lies your purpose in life. And if that's true, how do you find your talents? Noelle's grandmother, my mom, Roy Spence, was a school teacher in Brownwood, Texas. I was in the 8th grade, and you remember cursive? I had to turn in a blue book on Emerson, who's my favorite, by the way. Do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path, and leave a trail. Young people. And I turned in the paper on Emerson. I got it back 2 days later. I still have it. There are 8 misspelled words, and there was a huge C-. C's were not celebrated at my home. But my mom didn't say anything. Thank you. And next year, and I remember I was in the 9th grade, and I remember my teacher's name. Her name was Mrs. Levacy. We were studying Emerson again in English, and I said, "My mom, I'll make another C." And she said, "You go do the best you can." I turned it in. 2 days later, I get it back. There weren't 8 misspelled words. There were 11. All 3 pages was all red. And at the top of the page, the front page, was a tiny A-. And I put these 2 Bruce papers in front of my mom. I said, "Mom, I don't get it." And she said, "You can't spell." But you can write. And at 14 years old, I got the grand bargain from Roy Spence. She said, "I don't want you to spend another second of your life trying to be average at what you're bad at. I want you to spend the rest of your life trying to be great at what you're good at." That's the future of our country. We have to let our kids know what they're good at so they can become great at. Quit beating them up on the stuff that they can't. How many have kids? Yeah. Would you stop asking them what do they want to do? You're old as dirt and you don't know what you want to do. Ask them something quickly different. Ask them, what do you love to do? My son, Shay, went to Tulane, comes home and cooks Mary and I a 4-course meal. And I said, "Shay, what you been doing at college?" And he said, "Watching the Food Network." Graduated from culinary school. You can make a living doing what you love to do. And at 27, he's now the food editor for People magazine. We have to build this new generation around the idea that you can make a living and a life doing what you love to do. And we got to build this new generation's idea and the one behind them that play to your strengths, not your weaknesses, in service of the greater good. So I appreciate y'all inviting me here. This has been a real treat. I love the mission. I love the vision of what you're trying to do. We need to get the word out. Don't keep this stuff a secret. Godspeed. Thank you. Thank you all a lot.
So, on behalf of the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies, I think we're going to change our name to the Center for Purpose and Promised Land Activities.
Yes, sir. I'm serious about it.
And Dr. Rhodes, we have a token of our appreciation.
Thank you, guys. Right here. Got it. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Well, that was incredible, inspiring. I don't have words to describe the amount of hope you've given me. Thank you. Thank you, Roy. So we're now going to present some awards to some people who are making a difference in the lives of others. We're going to present an award. It's the Building Tomorrow's Leaders Award and Legacy Award. And I'm going to tell you about the recipient who is going to receive this. A little background. This person has definitely shared his purpose and made his mark in our community. Our first honoree had a 32-year career as an elected public service, first as a state representative for 10 years, and later as our state senator for 22 years. Among his many noteworthy accomplishments during his public career, he was unending and effective advocacy on behalf of education at all levels. That advocacy was especially appreciated by ACC for years. He worked to see that our college was adequately funded before we secured our local tax base. Later, he was a key local leader in the effort to pass Austin Community College's first taxing authority, helping to greatly improve our ability to serve students throughout the capital region. Since his retirement from public office, he has not changed his commitment to service. From 2010 to 2012, he co-chaired the Austinites for Geographic Representation Committee, which brought district representation to our city government for the first time in a century. He has also kept true to Austin Community College, continually advocating for the college and our students. As a member of the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies, I am grateful for the leadership and perspective he has offered as the center continues its work to increase civic literacy to our students and the community we serve. For these reasons and many more, it's my pleasure and honor to present the Legacy Building Tomorrow's Leader Award to former Texas Senator Gonzalo Barrientos. We'll take a picture first. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Rob Reyes. Distinguished elected officials, former elected officials, Dr. Rose, Dr. Malcolm, I must say, Peck Young, you are part of the power in Austin, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall not filibuster, but I must tell you that I was a 130-pound linebacker for the Bastrop Bears, and it's a good thing that we never played against each other. I thank you for this honor. Talk about power of purpose. When I ran the first time in '72 and lost in a runoff, some people would say, Barrientos, what are you running for, state representative? You only have 10% Mexicans in Austin. And I said, well, I speak English. And then there were numbers of people of all colors who got together, and by golly, we got elected, thanks to people like yourselves. We have much to do, students, especially this time in our country and in our world. Fate, you were born at a time, at a certain place. Do something with it. Follow the words that you've heard before. God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. So this year, we decided to give 2 awards. There's so much good going on in our community. There are so many people who are doing such great things that affect the college and our center. And we decided to have two awards. One was our Legacy Award, going to Senator Barrientos. And the other is a new award we created to celebrate the work. It is our Building Young Leaders Award. And I'm going to tell you about our candidate. The young teacher we have chosen is an outstanding example in helping foster growth in students by exposing them to the programs that we put on. She encouraged her students to participate in events like this. She is creative, resourceful, professional, and has shown the leadership initiative to get business partners involved in a meaningful way with education and the education process. She created an academy to work with young people to help them learn soft skills of communication, collaboration, and creative thinking and critical thinking. Further, she has brought young people both to the center, constitution debates, and other activities. And in doing that, she has helped increase their enthusiasm for the college, and specifically ACC. She is an educator in Round Rock ISD, and for these reasons, it's my pleasure to introduce and award the Building Tomorrow's Young Leaders Award to Miss Lucy Sanchez. Thank you so much, Lucy.
It's really great to be here. Thank you for your speech. It aligns so much of what I do and what I think, and I'll definitely tag on to what you're doing. I'm really grateful here for the center today to take the time to honor people who mentor young people to be young professionals, helping them towards that active engagement in the world that they want. Thank you to Mr. Benny Hawkins. You've taught me more about soft skills than I think you really know. And to my husband, Jimmy, who showed me all about Texas Southern hospitality. I appreciate that. Even though I've been here almost 10 years, I know I'm still considered new. I'm really amazed and humbled to be recognized today in this way, but really it wouldn't be without the structure of Round Rock ISD, who actually conceptualized the Academy Specialist position so that we can do this kind of work between our community partners and our young people. I'm really super inspired, though, more than anything else, really by our Westwood High School student ambassadors who come to me with such sincerity and enthusiasm and really this burning desire to become young professionals. Not later, mind you, not later, but right now. And they can do that at any age. They don't have to wait for that golden next thing. They can do it right now. And so when I see these young people from your center come up here and speak, that's what they need. That's where they need to be. So thank you for all of that. So investing in future generations is really an honor we can all share. And for those of you in the room today who have actually become a guest speaker in a public school classroom, for those of you that have opened up your doors of your industry for field trips, have hosted a job shadow or an internship, thank you. Thank you very much. You may not realize just how much the students value your time and your advice. Keep it up. Let's all keep it up. Thank you very much for everything.
It's my pleasure to introduce our executive director of our Center of Public Policy and Political Studies, Peck Young. He is an amazing leader, and we owe a lot of gratitude for all his wisdom and all his hard work. So come up here, Peck.
It is my pleasure always to close this event, which I will do today, and because we're running late, I'll be very brief. I want to first thank Keisha Gray, our coordinator at the center, for the thank you for the enormously good job she has done this year and has always done to make all our events, and specifically this event, possible, and to make it run smoothly, and to make all of the details that are involved in these events appear effortless, which I assure you they are not. I also want to thank all of you, all of our sponsors of all the various levels, especially our friends at Flintco, but all of you for being here today and for making what the center does and all of our activities possible. All the money that you give goes strictly in to the events and the activities, including our internships, which the students participate in all year, and we deeply appreciate, and I would just think you all ought to give each other a hand for what you make possible. I would be remiss in not thanking my old and dear friend Roy Spence for the wonderful speech that he gave us today. It was what I expected, and I hope all of you enjoyed it as much as I did. Roy, thank you, my friend. I have a couple of brief announcements. We will take pictures with Roy, with Senator Barrientos, and with Lucy Sanchez over here, with the trustees that are here, with the Center board members that are here, and also with the members of SGA that are here, which is an organization which we sponsor. The SGA members should come over here and form up with our coordinator, Mohammed Ergul. Scott will take the pictures, and we'll do them sequentially from trustees to board members to the SGA members, if you'll gather over here. With that said, I want to thank you again for a wonderful day, for you all being here, being our guests, and we appreciate you doing that, and we enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you very much.